What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing well. We are on Need for Speed Payback, and we trying to find an online match. This is my first ever online session, and look at this. This is just, yeah. I never bothered to try multiplayer, and safe to say, I have a pretty good reason not to bother, because look at this. First ever lobby, just, people just messing about having fun. However, it was so difficult to find this lobby, and two, it seems that people are just here not really doing much. I don't really understand that, just staying idle for people or so. It kind of reminds me a lot of Burnout Paradise. But on Burnout Paradise, this is back in 2012, I want to say. People were just messing about in the airfield, and this is basically the same thing all over again. However, times have changed for me, and I just don't see the appeal of doing this, and messing about is not the issue. As you can see over here, I was trying to find another race and I had no luck whatsoever. But as I was saying, it was not about the activities that was being done. It's just this game. This game is so barren after the story is over. When I was playing through the story, I was pretty engaged. There were certain parts of the story I was like, why on earth is this here? I wish there were more heists, because I did like the heist missions, and I also enjoyed the runner missions. With that action aspect, it was pretty cool. However, the rest of the game, especially off-road racing was such a pain, in my opinion. I'm just not an off-road person type of guy. Could be it, but also this upgrading system thing is just not it, man. It's just not it. The fact that you have to gamble to get a certain part is just so ridiculous. And I'm doing a side quest, you can say. However, you do this type of outrun race for over 100 times, it just, in this city, it just gets really boring really quick when there's not much context to the story once the main portion of the campaign is over. And another thing too is this game's color palette is so weird. Now I have to say that my monitor is not great in terms of colors, but I don't think it's actually my monitor this time. This game just has a weird sun effect, and it just looks off. It looks off, and especially with the context of the story that you are fighting against people who are rigging races, and the fact there's loot boxes and such. Especially when you're in the city of Fortune Valley, you are really feeling the artificial aspect of the setting. Especially when there's no cops around. As you can see, we are on a little cop chase right now, however, this is all scripted, and it makes no sense why there's no free roam cops. For a game in which the cops are supposedly on you 24/7, you can't even go to sleep, according to the story, without the cops or the mob being on you. So to have a free roam where there's no cop chases and the only form of a cop chase are these scripted events, it's just such a miss. And that's the thing with this game. When playing this game, yes, for the couple of hours I was playing the story, I was pretty into it. But I couldn't help but think how barren the game felt. And I actually stopped playing the game for months before I finished the story because I just found it pretty boring in my opinion. I'm driving Tyler's Skyline, which is a car that you lose in the beginning of the game, so there's no cars that you can really have a connection to. You can't really have a connection to the characters, they're kind of forgettable. And also, Tyler's Skyline is just such a joke. Like, what type of hero car is this? It's just... This game has a lot of potential, and it could have been a nice enjoyment, bite-sized fun. However, it's just so bare. Anyways, all thanks for watching. Hope you have a good one. Peace.